Hi, it's Kim, and today we're going to try forcing Paperwhites in a glass jar and water. I've done this before and it's so much fun, and I know you will enjoy it. I've also got tulips and hyacinths, but I'm not going to cover that in this video, but we're just going to be doing the Paperwhites. But be sure to tune on into my next video because I'll do them. I bought these last fall and they've been in the cold garage, not freezing, but in the really cold garage so that they would have the cold period. Now that's the hyacinths and tulips. The Paperwhites do not need the chilling, but I put them out there anyway. Now I've got a lot of different bottles and jars that I do my hyacinths and tulips in. That one is a new and different one that I got this year. I thought it looked perfect for a big long-stemmed tulip, but we'll try that next video. Now the one that I'm going to use for these is this tall jar with the little crimped edge on the bottom. I want the stems to be supported because the stems of the Paperwhites usually get 12 to 18 inches tall and they tend to flop. So I want to prevent the flopping, so that's why I get this tall one. It's about 6 inches diameter, and it has that lower level that will show me my water level and everything. Now I have some stones that I'm going to plant them in. Those are older stones that I've kept and bleached last fall, and I'm going to reuse those this year. So I'll just put them here into the bottom. Some of these are larger, but mostly the pebble size. Now those pebble sized stones you can get at the dollar store. I think it's a 1 pound bag for $1, and you can't beat that price. You're going to pay a lot more at Lowe's and some of the garden centers. But I'll just fill it up to get at least a couple inches, 3 inches or so of the pebble level. And that's what the roots will go down through, and that's what the water will stand in. So we'll probably have a very thick network of roots down there eventually. I think that looks pretty good. Now we're ready for the bulbs, and as you can see, my little stems are trying to grow out already. Now the Paperwhites are in the family of daffodils. They look similar to a daffodil, but they're in that same family, Narcissus I think it is. And you can see all the little tips starting to grow. And this package supposedly held 7 bulbs, and I'm going to try to get all 7 down in here. I'd like for them all to grow as a nice cluster, but you can grow at least put 2 or 3 together so that you have a decent cluster and can do successive plantings. Prep some and then 2 weeks later prep another bunch so that you have some Paperwhites blooming continuously. Just as one finishes blooming and you're ready to discard those, then you have another set that's about to bloom. Now the Paperwhites, you can try them if you're in one of the 7 or 8 zones to plant them outside, but once they've been forced, it kind of gets them spent and they're not going to rebloom maybe for several years, and in the cold zones they probably won't bloom at all, so mostly just discard them. Now you can see the level I've got. And you can pull some of those dry husks off if you want to. Some of those I've peeled off, some I've left on. And I have heard you can put alcohol in there, vodka alcohol, some kind of a strong liquor that's like 80 proof. I think it works out to about 7 parts water, 1 part liquor to shorten the stems if you want to try that. But I'm going to plan to put mine up here in the warmth of the family room in front of the window so I can get them really going quickly. So all I do is get some water, from the tap, and then I'll pour that water down into the bulbs and just get the water so it barely touches maybe the bottom half to maybe a third of the bulb, because if you get it too deep in the water, they'll just rot. They won't grow. You basically want those roots to try to reach for the water to sustain themselves. So I'm just pouring that directly in, and let me get it close up so you can see the level. I'm just barely touching the bottom of the bulbs. So that should make their roots try to reach down into that moisture. I think this is going to work out pretty good. Don't know if this will be a little too tall, but we'll see, and I'll know whether to set this aside for next year or not. Now, since I'm near my ZZ Raven, if you watched a prior video where I talked about it growing in green, it is growing in darker and darker. The little tips kind of started to get dark, but then it has gradually, it's gone down through the leaf and the vein. So I think soon those will be very, very dark, just like they're supposed to be. But I get sidetracked like this when I look at one of my other plants. See those tips there? They look really good. But anyway, here are my Paperwhites all ready to go. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. And I'll show you tulips and hyacinths in the next video. I'm going to try some different shapes for them. But thanks for joining me today, and be sure and stick around for another video. All we have to do is keep the water level up, and in a few weeks we'll have these blossoms. See you next video.